college in the South, so it might be a little bit different there. But I remember talking to girls there, and they would say, "Oh, what are you majoring in?" And I would tell them, and then I'd say, "How about you?" And they'd say, "Oh, I'm here for my Mrs. degree." And for the longest, I kid you not, this is how dumb I was. For the longest, I was like, what department is that? What does that stand for? Because that wasn't anything that would ever, like, cross my mind. But after spending 4 years around girls who were going to college to find a husband, they didn't care about anything else other than that, you subconsciously kind of start to feel like, wait, is that our purpose? Are we just supposed to, like, find a man and have a home, and here we are? And, like, I would talk to girls who I was friends with, and they would say, I just can't wait to get married, and then my life will be, like, everything will come together. And I'm like, you're putting so much pressure on on a marriage that you are not even dating anyone right now. Like, it's just, I don't know. So maybe there is just this thing that's going around in society where women feel like, I don't know, that's where their purpose is. I don't really.
And I think for men or women who, like, really just want to be married, like, that's okay. Or if you don't want to have, like, if your purpose isn't to go do some big radical thing or start your own business or do whatever, like, the three of us on this podcast are currently doing, like, that's totally fine. But for people who either haven't found their purpose yet and now they're just assuming that their purpose is to be a homemaker, or for people who found their purpose and now they're putting it to the side for the sake of their marriage or of their family because they have to, or that's what society says, or that's what their genetics say, that's, I think, a larger discussion that can be had.
I also think, too, regardless of, like, how amazing your marriage or your relationship is, if you don't have something else that's, like, yours that you're putting your energy towards, you're depending on another flawed human to, like, give you kind of satisfaction in a way. And they're never, ever going to live up to whatever kind of reality you have in your head. And that's going back to how you were saying, like, there's women in marriages behind closed doors that are suffering and feeling awful. And I don't know, it's a very big conversation for sure.
It's a very big conversation, and it comes down to communication. And I have to say, in the defense of the male population, men, in my opinion, at least many men, well, I guess I could only speak for my husband, he didn't have that expectation of me. He really didn't. I fell into that role. I, like, volunteered for it.
Same.
And then at some point in our relationship, I was really angry about it. And there was a lot of blame. You know, it's like, how did I find myself here doing all of the home chores, yet going to work and doing all the work, you know, things needed at work. And when we finally had a conversation about it, you know, good 10 years into our marriage, he's like, hey, you know, you kind of chose that. I never had that expectation. I said, okay, well, just so you know, it's going to change.
Right.
And it did. So I think that women, maybe, you know, I do think some of the way it becomes with women is self-imposed. And it's really about us being mindful and asking ourselves, you know, where do we feel vital? What contributions in the household make us feel vital? Maybe even sitting down with your partner or your spouse and saying, okay, these are the things I'm good at. These are the things you're good at. Let's just divide and conquer and have a very heartfelt conversation about what that means.
No, for sure.
Most of us don't, myself included. You know, communication, I think, is the one place that gets muddied in a relationship.
Yeah.
There are a lot of assumptions.
Yep. Regardless of how great of a communicator you are, it's going to happen.
In everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I went to a talk last night by a woman in our community who's the head of public health. And she got her doctorate in sexual health, basically.
Okay.
And she was talking about sexual health for women over 50. And, when you distill it all down, it comes down to communication.
Mm-hmm.
Really talking to your partner and saying, this works and this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's the same in everything that everything in our life. When you are in a team or any kind of partnership, it really comes down to be willing to be vulnerable. I know we've talked about that before. And just talk about it.
And I think more communication is better too. Like in the context of like when small things happen, talking about it because the stakes are low. But one of the things that I found happens in my world is something small happens and I don't say anything because I can ignore it and like I'll forget about it in 20 minutes. But then as it keeps becoming a habit in whatever situation I'm in or I continue to find myself in, then the stakes get higher and higher and higher in my mind, and it's harder and harder and harder to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because now 3 months have gone by and it's like, well, like this person or this action or this thought could have been like a non-issue 3 months ago, and now it's an hour-long conversation that I don't necessarily know if I have the energy for, or if I want to offend somebody, or if it's going to hurt their feelings, or if it's going to hurt my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And so more communication, especially in the low-risk times. Hey, yes or no. Hey, I like this, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
What if you thought about it this way?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm still going to forget about it in 20 minutes. But now I'm going to forget about it, and whatever resurfaces is going to be exactly what I was hoping for, or exactly what's more productive or what's more valuable or more fruitful.
I mean, communication is essential. I think the challenge is that people don't always hear what you're saying. So that's just something to be aware of is, are they understanding your words the way you are intending them? Which, of course, takes more communication.
Today. If you'd like to connect with us on social media, you can find Annamarie at Mindfully Annamarie. You can find myself at Emily VDW, and you can find Evan at _Evan Ryan. We'll talk to you next week.